Hey everyone, this is HowNext here, and today we'll be looking at the ultimate guide to optimizing Windows for gaming productivity. And this video is going to be pretty long, but I highly recommend you watching to the end of the video if you want the best results and the maximum performance out of this guide. Now, it's important to mention that this methods and tweaks shown in the video will work best if you're on Windows 10 builds 1803 up to 2004, and at the time of recording this, build 2004 is the latest version of Windows 10 currently out right now. If you're using build 1709 or earlier, some of these tweaks shown in the video may or may not work. However, you can still experiment them and see how it turns out. And last but not least, if you do find this video helpful, please do consider dropping a like down below and subscribing, as that would be much appreciated since these videos do take a while to make. I really appreciate it if you could do any of these things to support my work. Now, starting off, we're going to be checking which version of Windows 10 we're using right now. So in order to do that, we're going to head over to the search bar and type in WinVer. Click the first option, and right around here you should see your build number. And for me, it says 1803, but yours will be different depending on which version of Windows 10 you're using. And if you see 1709 or earlier, like I said before, some of these methods may or may not work, but you can still experiment with these changes if you want. And now you can click OK. And next we're going to be creating a restart point. This is so that we can experiment with these changes, and we'll always have the option to revert back for any reason in case we do. And that's kind of how a restore point works. Now type create restore point in the search bar. And where it says the C drive, you want to select your C drive, which is your main partition for your Windows, and click configure. And turn on system protection. It's important that you enable this, and drag the slider to about 3 or 5%. And I'm going to leave it at 5%. Click apply and OK. Now you can simply click create, and you can call this whatever you want, but I'm just going to call it performance tweaks. And you can click create, and this is going to take a moment, so just be patient and wait for it. And when you see this, you should see that it's created successfully, so click close. And when you have to do system restore, you can just simply click system restore and next and choose your system restore point and proceed on. But for now, we're going to close out system restore. Now, starting off, we're going to be applying some tweaks in the settings app and the control panel and some other basic utilities, but we're going to be opening the settings app first. So open up your start menu and choose settings. And starting off, we're going to be going to the privacy tab. And for right here, we're going to want to turn off every single option. Sometimes you'll want this option checked if you do want your ID to get some more interesting ads. Because if you turn this off, you'll get some like random ads that you may not want. But this is based on personal preference. But for most of us, we're going to turn it off. And go to speech and typing. This should be set to off. And if this says turn on, that means it's already off, so you can go back to diagnostic and feedback and set this to basic. This actually will give you a performance boost, because what this will do is that it will set your diagnostic to basic, so you won't be sending that much diagnostic data. And also, if you set it to full, it may slow down your computer since all of this is being sent in the background. And this can also expose your privacy if you set it to full. And turn all these options off. However, if you do actually use tailored experiences, you can turn it on, but for most of us, we don't use it. You can click delete right here. And for feedback frequency, we can set this to never. And now we're going to head over to activity history and simply uncheck everything that's right here. However, if you do use sync your activities, then you can leave this ticked if you have a Microsoft account. But I'm on a local account, so I'm going to untick this and click clear. And now we're going to head over to location, and we can just click clear right here. And this is based on personal preferences. If you use the location on your computer, then you probably should turn it on, but I don't use it, so I'm going to turn it off. And camera and microphone should be turned on. Sometimes when you're using some kind of meeting app, you might not be able to use your microphone because it's usually turned off if it's not working. And for the apps right here, just check whatever apps that you require microphone and uncheck ones that you don't. For example, I don't really use Cortana, so I'm going to turn it off. and go to notifications. And for this, I highly recommend you turning this to on, because sometimes you actually do need notifications from apps. And then now go to background apps and turn the switch off. And this should be turned off for pretty much everyone. All these apps are basically Windows built-in apps. You don't really need to have them running in the background. Go to app diagnostics and we can basically turn this option off. Next, we're going to be heading over to the gaming tab. And for game bar, let's just turn this off because it's pretty much a useless feature. However, if you do use it, leave it on, but I don't really use it that much, so I'm going to turn it off. For game mode, you can just leave it as it is. There might be a switch if you're using a later version of Windows 10, like 1909 or 2004, so if there's a game mode that option, you can turn that switch on. You can go back to home page. Now we're going to head over to System and go to Notifications and Actions. And for right here, we're going to want to untick where it says Get Tips and Tricks and Suggestions as you use Windows and the Show Me Windows Welcome Experience. If you already have been using Windows for like several years, you don't really need this options checked. And for the notifications, just untick apps that you don't really want notification being sending from. For example, I don't really want this being sent, but if you actually do require some of these apps to send notifications, then you don't touch them. For example, I actually use Google Chrome and I actually need that. But for now, we're going to go back to Focus Assist and set this option to off and turn everything off right here. And obviously only do this if you don't use Focus Assist. If you do use it, then don't really tamper with these settings. Now head over to storage, turn off storage sense. Now this actually will give you a better performance boost, since like you don't want this tool deleting files in the background without your consent. And you can always run it manually when you need to. And for multitasking, we can just turn everything off right here. Just do this when you only don't use this feature. I don't, so I'm going to turn it off. But if you do use multitasking, then leave it as it is. Go back to home. Next, we're going to be heading over to personalization. Now for background, I highly encourage you setting it to a solid color if you don't really care about the picture. Like, most likely it's going to be set to here, so it'll show like a background. But if you don't really care about the background, I highly encourage you setting solid color. This is going to help boost your performance if you're on a very old computer, just can't handle like just having a picture. And we're going to set it to solid color because I don't really care about the picture. You can set whatever color you want. It's most likely going to be set black by default, but set it to whatever you want. Now go to colors, and from here you want to uncheck this option where it says automatically pick an accent color, and I'm going to pick an accent color real quick. I'm just going to choose that one. And for transparency effects, this is based on your own preference. If you don't really care about transparency effect, then you can turn this off. But transparency effects they just basically like make your windows look more transparent. Like as you can see, there's some transparency in here in the settings app. But if you don't really care, you can turn this off. But I'm just gonna quickly turn it off because generally this actually boosts your performance. So your transparency effects like actually improve your visual effects, and if you don't use them, then you can turn it off. And now go to start. And we can turn the suggestions occasionally start off. And this is so that you don't receive any of these suggestions and like recommendations. And then now you can close out of the settings app. And next we're going to be optimizing the control panel. So we're going to be heading over to the control panel by typing in control. And starting off, we're going to head over to ease of access center. And remove those check marks immediately. If you hear like some guy or robot reading something, don't be alarmed, it's just a narrator. We can just remove those check marks so it doesn't read anymore. Go to the keyboard section, there's mouse keys, and simply remove every single check mark that's in this area. And set this option to off, and remove that. Hit apply, and okay. Now what we're basically doing is that we're going to be disabling all of those features that make your keyboard easier to use. And if you don't really use these features, it's best to turn them off since they actually do improve latency if you accidentally trigger sticky keys. And go to filter keys and simply remove everything off right here. Hit apply and okay. Now once you're done, you can go back to the control panel. Now you can head over to system and security, system. And we're going to head over to advanced system settings. Now right here you're going to want to go to performance, and this is where you can disable visual effects in this section where it says visual effects, And personally, this is based on your own preference, because if you do actually want these visual effects, then you can disable some of them. Like, what visual effects are, they just make your Windows like have some animations. Like, for example, if I open the File Explorer, it has that animation when you close out of it. If you don't really care, you can just set it to best performance. And when you're going to do that, you want to check smooth edges of screen fonts and show thumbnails instead of icons. And by doing this, Windows is going to look a bit more snappier. And if you don't really like it, you can just set it back to Windows Choose Refresh on your computer. And I'm going to do that real quick, because I actually do want these animations. I think my computer is going to handle that. Now go to Advanced and go to where it's Processor Scheduling and set this to Programs. Now go to Virtual Memory and click Change. And this is where we will be changing the virtual memory. Most likely it's going to be set to here. You want to simply uncheck that. And if you have 8 GB or more RAM installed on your computer, you don't really have to set a paging file. So I'm going to quickly do that because I have 8 GB or more RAM. And if you don't know how much RAM you have on your computer, you can simply go back to the Control Panel and you can see your installed memory, which is right here. And it says 8, so I don't really have to have a paging file. However, if you use 4 GB of RAM or less, then you're going to want to set to System Manage size. But we're going to leave it at no paging file since I don't have to do that. Click OK, apply. And now you're going to want to go to DAG Execution Prevention and set it to this option where it says Services Only. Click Apply and OK. Now we're going to go to where now click OK right here. Click Restart Later because we still have some tweaks to apply later on. And now we're going to go to Control Panel back there. And right here we're going to head over to Hardware and Sound. And click Sound. Now for the playback, you want to select your speakers. You hit Properties and go to where it says Advanced. You want to set this to the lowest possible, which is 16-bit 48,000 Hz. So if you experience like a lot of lagging in your sound and there's a lot of crackling and stuff, it may just be that you're setting this value too high. For me, I'm just going to leave it as it is because I don't experience that much crackling in my sound. And yeah, so I'm going to leave it on 24-bit. But if you experience a lot of lag when you're playing sound, you can just set it at 16-bit. And then don't forget to click Apply right there. Once you're done, you want to click OK. Now go to Sounds, and for right here, it's most likely to be set to Windows Default. These are basically the sounds that Windows plays. So for example, when you like have a pop-up show up, like it'll just play that annoying sound. I'm going to set it to no sounds because I don't really like these Windows sounds. And go to Communications, and we're going to set this to Do Nothing. Click Apply and OK. Now we're going to head over to the mouse, right here in the Device and Printers. Now head over to Buttons, and for double click speed, this is based on your own preference, but I'm going to set this to a bit faster. So you're going to want to click Apply and head over to Pointer Options, and for right here you're going to want to uncheck where it says Enhanced Pointer Precision. And what this option does is that if you have Enhanced Pointer Precision checked, some of your aiming will be inaccurate, especially in first-person shooting games. And like your sensitivity settings will be completely incorrect if you have this option enabled. And it's best to turn it off if you're like a serious gamer and you play first-person shooting games. Because I'm just gonna turn it off just like that. And you want to click Apply and OK. And next, we're pretty much done with the Control Panel, so we're gonna close out of this. Next, we're gonna be tweaking some basic utilities in Windows. So open up the search bar and type in defragment and optimize drives. Now click on that. And for schedule optimization, you just want to click where it says turn on and make sure the run on schedule is unchecked. For you, it's most likely going to be saying change settings because I already turned this off. It might just say change settings, so just click that button and turn off this option. Now what this will do is that it will disable the scheduling optimization, and what this defragment optimized drives does is that it optimizes your drive so that it runs at the best of its ability. However, if you have a schedule running, it could actually slow down your computer since like all this is being done on the background, and you don't have to really have this like running on a schedule. You can always do it manually when you do need to, like once every month or so. So that's mainly the reason why we had to disable this. Now you can click close. And next, once you're done with the defragment tool, you're going to want to go to the search bar, and we're going to be disabling some of the features. So type in Windows features. We're going to be disabling some of these and configuring some of these. And starting off, we're going to be disabling Windows Subsystem for Linux. This actually slows down your computer and can slow down boot time as well. And if you don't really use the subsystem for Linux, then you can just turn it off. And for the Net Framework 3.5, it's best to have this option enabled. It's not enabled by default, but make sure that it's checked and click OK. And if it says that you need to download those files, just click download and it'll just start downloading those framework files. And just be patient as that thing starts downloading. Now next, we're going to be getting a bit more technical, and we're going to start running some advanced scripts. However, you shouldn't be having any problem with this as long as you follow all my steps. Now what I want you to do is download my Optimized Windows full pack. Now I'll put this in the description below, and it'll look like this once you're at the link. And you want to click download now. And it's going to pop up this, so just save it to wherever you want. I'm going to save it to my desktop, so I'm going to click cancel because I already have done it. But once you have it downloaded, you're going to want to head over to your desktop, and you want to click extract all, right click, click extract all, or if you have WinRAR, you can click extract here. And we're going to open up this folder. We're going to be heading over to performance optimizations. And what I want you to do is click where it says disable hibernation, right click and click run as administrator. And click yes, pressing the key. Now hibernation is basically a way to shut down your computer, and sometimes it causes some issues, so best to leave it disabled. Now go to power usage, double click to merge it, click yes, yes, and okay. Same thing with the registry optimizations, right click merge, yes, yes, and okay. And double right click on the Win optimizations, merge, yes, and okay. And if you want to apply these registry optimizations manually, you can always do so by right clicking and click edit. If you just copy this registry file, paste it in your registry editor, and you can just apply these changes manually. But for most of us, we're not going to be doing that, since we can just literally apply it like straight away. But if you want to do that, by all means, you can go for it. You'll be going to the commands text file, open that up, and copy all these commands right here. And we're going to be opening up command prompt to apply these. So type in CMD in your search bar. And it's important that you right click and click run as administrator. Click yes. And then do Control V on your keyboard to paste and hit enter. And if you see element not found, don't be alarmed. It just means that you already have applied this change. So if you see that, it doesn't matter. Just ignore that. It just means that you already applied the changes, and we can click. We can close out command prompt. Next, we're going to be clearing out cache, so right click and click run as administrator. And then this will start clearing out cache and give your system a bit of a refresh. And this can also free up some storage on your disk space. And this will generally make your system a bit more responsive, since there's a bunch of garbage on your system that you should probably remove. And this could take some time depending on how much cache you have on your computer. It's definitely going to take more time than me because I actually have less cache than you. Alright, so once you're done, you can head back to the pack. And I think I forgot to mention is that I wasn't the one who created these scripts, so I just like to give credit to the people who actually did. Now we'll go to ping reduction, and we're going to be reducing the ping by running these scripts. And what ping is that it's the amount of latency on your network, and generally the lower that number, the better, so that's why we're lowering ping. And we're going to be starting off by double clicking on this registry file. This will be merging it into the registry, and obviously you can do it manually by right click and click edit. By all means you can go for that if you want to, but we're going to be applying the registry files first. And next we're going to be running these scripts, which are these batch files. So what I want you to do is run all of these scripts, and make sure to run them as administrator, since some of these will take time. I'm just going to do this RSC one as an example. So right click and click run as administrator. And then if you see command prompt opening and closing, it just means that you already applied the changes. And do the same thing for all the Windows batch files. Just right click and click run as administrator. And I'll get back to you guys once I'm done. Alright, so once we're done, you can go back to Optimize Windows Full Pack. And next we're going to be debloating Windows 10. So we're going to be removing a bunch of bloatware and garbage that comes pre-installed with here. And this was probably the most beneficial tip I can ever give you, because this is probably the tweaks that will significantly boost your performance the most out of all these tweaks. And what we're going to be doing is that we're going to be running nsudo. Now there is a risk by doing this, like sometimes if these scripts go wrong, your registry could get messed up. However, if it does mess up, you can always create another restore point, and then you can just revert back. And since we already did, I'm not going to create another one, but what we're going to be doing is that we're going to start debloating Windows 10. So open up the debloating Windows 10, and we're going to be starting off by uninstalling OneDrive. However, only do this if you don't use OneDrive. If you do use OneDrive, then don't run the script, since OneDrive will get uninstalled from your computer and you'll just have to reinstall it again. It's just going to be pretty annoying. So we're going to be right clicking and run as administrator for uninstall OneDrive. And this could take some time, but just be patient and wait for it to uninstall. Alright, so once it's done, you should see this removing OneDrive. You can press any key to continue. And next, we're going to be applying some changes in PowerShell with the Windows 10 Debloater Master. So what I want you to do is copy this Windows 10 Debloater Master folder to another directory. So we're going to open up File Explorer, and we're going to copy it to our C drive, and we're going to basically paste it in our C drive directory right here by right clicking and click paste. I've already done that, so it shows right here. Now once you're in the folder, we're going to want to disable the execution policy. And what we're going to be doing is that we're going to be opening PowerShell first. So type in PowerShell in your search bar, and right click on Windows PowerShell and click Run as Administrator. And once you're here, you're going to want to copy the file directory for where you saved the Windows 10 Debloater Master, and make sure it's on your C drive, like the place where you copied it, not the original folder where like the file pack I created, the Windows C drive, because it won't work if you use the other directory. So use your C drive where you copied it right here. Now select it, click copy, and type in CD space in the PowerShell, Control V to paste. And now once you're here, we're going to want to open up the README file. So right click open, choose another app, and choose WordPad. It might just be down in here, so just choose WordPad and click OK. Now find where it says set execution policy unrestricted force. It should be next to code, so copy this. Now go back to PowerShell and just paste it in here. Hit enter, and you should be seeing this message right here. And then once we're done, we're going to want to close our PowerShell. And next we're going to be running an nsudo. So what nsudo does is that it runs a program or script in God mode. So it's basically above administrator. And what we're going to want to do is head over back to the optimizing pack I created for you. We'll go to debloating Windows 10 and sudo launcher x64. Now go to nsudo lg. Make sure you choose this option. And once you're here, you're going to want to click where it says browse, and we're going to want to browse for the Windows 10 Debloater Master. Now make sure you browse for the directory in the Windows C drive, not your desktop. So go to your C drive, choose Windows 10 Debloater Master, choose Windows 10 Debloater GUI. Now make sure you choose that one and click open. Now check where it says enable all privileges, which will run everything in God mode. And hit home on your keyboard and go back to the beginning of the directory and type in PowerShell. And what we're going to do now is hit run. And this is going to be opening up Windows 10 Debloater Master. Alright, so as you can see, if you've done all the steps correctly, you should be seeing this message right here. And what we're going to do right now is starting off by clicking remove all bloatware. And this is going to be starting to remove all the bloatware and garbage that's on your computer that comes pre-installed with Windows. And this can actually speed up your computer to about like 30%, like more, which actually is pretty significant. And this can take some time, so just be patient as it starts removing garbage and bloatware from your computer. Alright, so once it's done, you should be seeing finish all tasks. And what we're going to do next is that we're going to be disabling Cortana, so click that. Now once this Cortana has been disabled, we can head over to stop FTP PDF takeover. We don't have to uninstall OneDrive since we already have done that. And we're going to be clicking disable telemetry / tasks. This is going to take a moment. And next we're going to be removing bloatware reg keys. This will be removing all the remaining bloatware reg keys that are left over on your system. So just be patient as it does this. And we're not going to be choosing any of these two options because we already have uninstalled OneDrive, and I don't think you really want to unpin all tiles from your start menu. But if you do, you can just click that. But as you can see, it's going to say additional bloatware keys have been removed. Now, we're going to be installing .NET 3.5 since some programs still use that, and it's important to have this installed so the graphics in your game will be much better. And once you're done, we're going to close out of Windows 10 for Bloatware Master. Now, the final step we're going to be doing for this guide is downloading the latest version of DirectX and the latest supported Visual C++ downloads. And what this will do is that this will enhance your graphics performance, and some programs actually do need Visual Studio, and it's best practice having the latest version of DirectX. Now you can just go ahead and start downloading both of these. Clicking the download button, and we're just going to save it there. And same thing with Visual Studio, so download x64 if you're on 64-bit. Now you're going to want to start out by opening DirectX. Now accept agreement and uncheck where it says install the Bing bar. And then now just wait for DirectX to start installing. And while that is installing, we're going to open up and while that is installing, we're going to be installing Visual C++, and it's going to say modify because I already got installed, but if you don't have it installed, just click install right around there. And I already have installed, so I can play for that. And then for DirectX, it actually does detect some components that needs to be downloaded, so you want to click next. And just be patient as this DirectX starts loading up. And just wait for this to download and install. Alright, so once it's done, you're going to click finish, and that's pretty much it for this guide. So, hope you all found this guide helpful, and hope you did see some improvement in your performance. And if you did find this video helpful, be sure to like the video, and be sure to subscribe if you want to see more of this video. That would be much appreciated because that would support my creative work. And I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you in my next video.